Hello there, Dan the Weatherman here. Hey, welcome to my weather show. This is the global edition. Mother Nature has really had her foot down to the floor on the old climate extremes over the last week, and it's still down to the floor. This time she's going to shift gears slightly, talking heat. We were talking excessive rainfall across parts of the world. Heat, and we've seen this so often as well. This is the old map of the globe where you see some red. Those are temperatures above normal. We've talked about the heat, of course. Western parts of North America, all-time records in the last several weeks. Again, it's going to be the focus this week. Parts of Europe have been very, very warm, and there'll be some more surges. Parts of Africa, you see all these zones of color here, those surges of very deep lows tracking their way south and east of some of the continents. They work in, bringing warm air to parts of Antarctica, and then surges of cold coming out, one there in particular for parts of Africa, southern parts of Africa, much colder this week. But this zone of red here, we're talking some significant heat, but it's in a slightly different place. Let's zoom in and I'll show you the jet stream. Once again, the big problem with the jet stream this time, it's just wiggly. It used to be a meandering thing, now it's just up and it's down, and it moves very, very just like a flick of a switch. And with that, you get these zones of warmth. So that, of course, zone of warmth, a big mountain warm air will form across western parts of North America. That'll be the form of the heat there. We've had a lot of energy and colder air and systems tracking right across the Arctic. They don't go around the long way anymore. They go short way. And that energy has been tracking through, developing and deepening lows in the very warm seas of the Atlantic. Hence, this next system that'll track towards western parts of Europe as a storm system. Western parts of Europe, central parts of Europe have seen, of course, significant flooding. That'll be quieter this week, but it's the big story, of course, western parts of North America, the heat. This is a zoomed in map showing the upper level steering winds and the mountain of warm air. North America, US-Canadian borders there, heading all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico. Put your eyes to that big mountain, the dome as we call it, and watch what happens as we run right through the course of the week, that big circle. It sits there and just grows. It starts to grow, sucks in some warmer air, and as it does, the compression just makes it bigger and bigger, like an air hose going into it, a hot air hose. And that is the area from literally Denver right the way north up towards the northern Rockies. That will be the place where we could see temperatures 20, even 30 degrees Fahrenheit above where we should be for the time of year. And you're saying, well, how warm? Look at this. These are the all-time, or these are rather temperatures for the course of the week across this section here, starting off in the morning, go into the course of the afternoon, and put your eyes to places like Billings, Bismarck, Bozeman, Montana. 102, 106, right through the course of Tuesday, Wednesday, and you notice them fluctuating about. And this is where it should be temperatures to the desert southwest. But look at that zone expand by the end of the week. It's covering much of the mid-US and going all the way north, even into parts of Canada. And to give you a bit of an idea, when you start seeing temperatures triple digits here, typical should be about 80 degrees for parts of North Dakota, Montana. Some of the all-time records are around 105, 108. So these could be very close once again to some all-time records for heat across parts of the US. Then we go to Europe. Of course, we've seen the excessive flooding. Parts of London picking up some 90 millimeters in the span of just hours. Parts of course, Germany. Devastating flooding there in Schuld and Belgium as well. And you think, how do we get all of this flooding so quickly, so fast? It's the jet stream. That wiggly old piece of spaghetti. This was how it looked across England with that zone there, northeasterly. Great convergence, bringing those blood red cells to life. They're just dumped. And this is how the upper level map looked. Remember, a cutoff low, always troublemakers. Those are the excessive rainfall makers. And that zone right there across parts of southern England where we had the great dynamics to bring that out. And look at this, the same upper level low moved down to central parts of Europe later in the week, and it sat and it just zoo like that. And that blue area there, all the good dynamics, dumped all of that rain. And there were tropical connections in this. There was some tropical moisture and even some of the tropical sparkiness and the energy that helped bring this thing to become the devastating thing that it was. This was a satellite sequence. Look at that zone there. And as it runs through, you can see the pink and the red. Those are the excessive dumps of rain, and it's just not moving. Not moving. A cutoff low. They are the troublemakers, the ones that bring the excessive rainfall. But at least out west, the week will be quieter across much of Europe, thanks to the area of high pressure. That's been over the British Isles. That will shift its way through, so at least things can quieten down, dry out a little bit as the high settles across much of the continent. There'll be a few showers to the south and to the east, and later in the week, some of that energy coming out of the Arctic and across the warmer Atlantic will set off a new low here that will track towards the British Isles, where it'll probably be unsettled for western areas by the end of the week, but much, much quieter to central parts of Europe. A big week, of course, in Japan, the Olympics getting going, and we'll look at this. Weather-wise, they have a zone of protection. You've got an upper level high, giving them otherwise quiet weather for the opening ceremony. But that big swirl there, Typhoon Infus sitting to the south, setting up in the first part of the week. Watch the track of this thing, potentially tracking west-northwest. The blocking high keeps it protected, keeping it more or less south, but Taiwan could face the brunt of this thing. That will track away and fade. There could be a second one later by the weekend, and then going into, of course, maybe eastern areas. And you think, well, how long can that block last? Well, it won't, unfortunately. There, of course, is the typhoon. That is the block. This is the upper level air map showing the upper level block, keeping them protected. That's why the steering winds will take this typhoon and track it that way instead of towards Japan. But that will slowly weaken. See how the circle, it gets smaller as it does. Watch that one, and then perhaps potentially a second one forming probably in about a week's time, and that, it could be anyone's guess. It could be a little bit close for comfort, of course, for the Olympics going on in Japan. So that's how this weather is looking for now. See you guys again soon. Bye-bye.